So continuing with dramaturgical analysis, let's cover two terms that relates to that, and that is idealization and embarrassment. Starting with the first term, idealization, which suggests, now here Goffman is suggesting that people often idealize their intentions to reflect cultural standards and expectations. Again, we idealize our intentions to reflect cultural standards or expectations. So we want to say or do what our culture expects us to do. So, for instance, if you're having a conversation with someone who says they want to be a doctor, and you ask, well, why do you want to be a doctor? What do you typically hear when someone describes why they want to be a doctor? Typically, you hear them say, because I want to help people. I want to save people. I want to be a healer. I want to make a difference, or whatever the case may be. That is what we expect from doctors. We expect doctors to save lives. We expect doctors to use all of their medical training, experience, and knowledge to make the world a better place by keeping us safe and healthy. That's what we expect of doctors. Now, there may be someone who wants to be a doctor simply because they want to make a lot of money, but that's not what we expect them to say. Oftentimes, we expect them to say, I want to be a doctor because I want to help people. And that is idealizing your intentions, saying that you intend to be something in a way that fits what your culture expects of you. Now, let's talk about embarrassment. Embarrassment is also part of our performance. And according to Irving Goffman, it is the discomfort you feel from a spoiled performance. It is that horrible, embarrassed feeling that you get when you mess up in front of what? An audience. That is why you're embarrassed. You are embarrassed because you messed up in front of other people. Now imagine walking down the street in the wintertime in Michigan, and you start walking over an icy sidewalk, and all of a sudden you slip and you fall. What do most people do when they slip and fall? They look around to see if anybody saw them fall. Now, if there's nobody out and you're the only one that saw you fall on the ground, chances are you feel better. And you say, as you dust ice and snow off of you, wow, I'm glad nobody saw that. That would have been embarrassing. You see, it's not embarrassing if it's just you. Sometimes if I'm cleaning up the house and I'm just dusting and vacuuming or whatever, and I turn around and I bump my head on the cabinet and it's just me in the room, I'm not embarrassed by that. But if someone saw me hit my head and they started laughing, ha, I saw you hit your head, I feel small. I feel embarrassed. So Goffman says that embarrassment is inevitable because you're going to mess up. And why are you going to mess up? Because you're acting anyway. So while you're walking down the street trying to look cool and you trip over the sidewalk, or you fall down or you slip on a patch of ice, you messed up in front of an audience. The same way an actor messes up in front of an audience. They forget their lines. They say the wrong line, or they say their line too quickly, or they don't say it fast enough. And the audience starts giggling and they feel embarrassed. That is what we experience every day when we're in the presence of others. So it's not that you get embarrassed every day, but when you mess up in front of other people, and worse, when they go, ah, and they point at you, it makes you feel really small. So it's uncomfortable to see people become embarrassed. I know for me it is. That's what we call secondhand embarrassment. You see somebody mess up and you go, oh no, wow. Oh, I'm so sorry I saw her fall down the stairs. Oh, wow, I'm so embarrassed for her. Oh, my God. If you've ever been to a comedy show and you saw someone, on amateur night get up there and try to do a stand-up routine and nobody's laughing, secondhand embarrassment for real. So, because we don't most of us are empathic and we feel empathy. We know how to put ourselves in someone else's place and feel the same thing they're feeling. And because we've all been embarrassed at least once in our lives, we know exactly how awful that feels. So what we do is we use tact. And tact is behavior that's used to help the person save face. Now, save face means to recover from the embarrassment. You don't want them to feel worse than they already feel. So what you do is you ignore the mistake, act like you didn't see the person slip and fall on ice, or fall down a flight of stairs, or whatever the case may be. I find it helpful sometimes if I'm embarrassed for someone to share their most embarrassing moment. That makes me feel a lot better knowing that I'm not the only person that felt like a fool in a day. Because embarrassment is uncomfortable for both the actor and the audience, we try to help the person out by pretending that we didn't see the mistake. And that way, we can help them overcome the embarrassment that they feel in that particular moment. So that's what tact is. Again, it is behavior that we use to help the person that's been embarrassed recover from the embarrassment, or as they say, save face.